Hello and welcome to Business Incorporated. I am Bosin Omofaye and we thank you for joining us at this time. In the next 30 minutes, OPEC Secretary General says oil-producing countries to decide in May whether to extend their collective output cuts beyond the first half. And Africa's Finance Corporation plans flotation of first Sukuk bonds in February. Plus, Kenya plans $1.05 billion in syndicated loans to plug its budget deficit. Let's get started. The One China policy of the United States has landed in Nigeria as the Buhari's administration reaffirms its support for the policy and asks Taiwan to move its offices back to Lagos from Abuja, the federal capital. According to the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Shola Enikan-Olaye, Nigeria has no diplomatic ties with Taiwan, but trade and commercial ties only. The ambassador says since Lagos is regarded as the commercial capital of Nigeria, Taiwan's office should be in Lagos and not in Abuja, the country's administrative capital. Taiwan has, however, objected to the Nigerian government's move, saying Abuja is being pressured by China to isolate Taiwan, a claim Nigeria has denied. Meantime, the African equities market here is a very topsy-turvy day for some of the markets around midday Nigerian time on Thursday. Nigerian markets down 0.13% and 0.84% for the South African Bourse. However, the Egyptian stock market remains bullish, while Nairobi Stock Exchange closed in the red on Wednesday, even as Kenya $6 billion loan to plug its budget deficit. And you can see the South African GSC there a bit flat today. Nigerian stock market about 0.22% a few minutes ago. Intraday before the closing bell at 2:30 local time. The Egyptian market still really hot above 12,700 psychological level. And Kenya trying to find its way back to 133 on the oil share index. Look at the Gulf markets in Middle East. That's where the blue chips helped carry Saudi Arabia's stock index higher midday today after oil prices recovered overnight, but profit-taking in large capital stocks weighed on other Gulf markets. You can see the numbers there from Abu Dhabi. The stock exchange in Saudi also aims to extend settlement of trades to within 2 working days of execution. That's before June, when international index compiler MSCI or Morgan Stanley Capital International will decide whether to review Saudi Arabia for inclusion in its emerging market index. Look at the trading numbers as you've seen them. Well, very topsy-turvy markets around the world. In Europe, investors are looking at fresh corporate reports and digesting the latest remarks by U.S. President-elect Donald Trump during his first press conference that has since spooked the market. Gold was higher today, as well as silver. The dollar took a beating. European markets in the red as we speak, with the exception of the Spanish markets trying to make a comeback by 0.3%. A very nasty business day, or markets day so far. Let's get a sense of this and other stories in the headlines across the markets. My colleague at the Frankfurt Stock Exchange, Ulrich Batz, is joining us now for this conversation. Thank you very much. Ulrich, it's good to see you. Well, this is the morning after that press conference. Very interesting, a little bit engaging, a bit funny, and a lot to go home with. Now, how are investors and traders in Frankfurt digesting that presser by Donald Trump today? We've seen a bit of damage to the equity side while investors took a flight to safety. Treasuries, oil, gold, silver.
That's right. They didn't like what they heard. Some of the people here are aghast. They're incredulous. They were expecting more in terms of style and in content. And when I talked to the people here, yes, they were expecting more in terms of what economic policy Donald Trump has in store, how he's planning to finance things. But I think the style, the way he criticized the press, other things that he said, the way he was on that podium, I think that's what made people afraid of what is to come. One person said, you know, I can't imagine this man taking office in the Oval Office and then governing in arguably the most powerful position, political office that there is in the world. I think that's the overwhelming impression I get after having talked to people here about Donald Trump's appearance.
Yes, it's a press conference that will continue to be analyzed in the days and weeks ahead. And of course, Donald Trump will have another opportunity on Inauguration Day to make another statement. That will also be keenly watched by investors and businesses around the world. But let's look at what else is taking place in terms of when he takes office later on Friday next week. There are more expectations from Donald Trump, as he said. Investors are a little bit nervous as we speak. Look at the pharmaceuticals shares dragging European markets where you are down as we speak right now. Talk to us on this.
Yeah, pharmaceutical shares are down because what he said of the U.S. pharmaceutical industry, criticizing them for making products abroad and then importing them and having higher prices to boot. Not enough competition, not enough tough pricing there. He wants to bring that down and save billions. And of course, saving billions for consumers, for patients, for sick people means that there are billions missing in balance sheets. So that's one thing, kind of a concrete thing that people took away from that. Even if Donald Trump offered no details, I didn't really mention any names there. The auto industry he mentioned, and that's another thing where people fear that the protectionist rhetoric that Donald Trump had in the campaign and has had in his recent tweets will continue when he is in office. And people see that, not just detrimental to companies affected, but also possibly to the U.S. economy as a whole, because if companies do indeed feel themselves forced, coerced to close down plants in countries where production costs are lower, the word is globalization here, then products become more expensive at home, disadvantaging those who perhaps look to Donald Trump to improve their situation in life. So also on these aspects, not very positive comments, not very positive expectations being voiced here.
Okay, let's push the Trump story aside a little bit and talk to this very big story making the headlines as well. Looks like the wages of sin for Volkswagen, $4.3 billion in cash or a fine in the U.S. and 6 of its officials looking at criminal charges from the Department of Justice.